My name is Jeremy Devins, and this is the Quiet Mind Astrology Podcast with the weekly horoscope, the Friday forecast, starting from Friday, June 7th, going through Friday, June 14th. And I'll talk about the major transits happening this week. I'll show it on screen if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube. And if you want to know how this affects you personally, get your own birth chart. So you want to know your own rising and moon sign, and then where the other planets and houses and signs land in your chart. And I've got a nice free training on that on quietmindastrology.com. Get your chart, get the little training, and then you can start to understand things in your own chart and how these transits may be affecting you personally. I'm going to talk about the broader things today, what's happening, kind of affecting everybody, but when you understand your own chart, you can start to really see how it affects you more personally. So we're looking at the sidereal Vedic astrology, and this is different than the Western tropical. So if you know your Western tropical, this is different than that. And it goes a lot deeper. So we'll use the nakshatras. We're going to talk about some big nakshatra transits happening this week, including Jupiter moving into Rohini nakshatra inside the sign of Taurus. This is a pretty significant transit happening on Wednesday. And then also do a little overview of some of the bigger things going on throughout the year. So we're just about the middle of the year now, and this is the summer solstice here in the northern hemisphere, winter solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. It's coming up on June 20th. And that's the time when the day is the longest of the year in the northern hemisphere, and the night is the longest in the southern hemisphere. So we create an imbalance to some degree. So now in the northern hemisphere, it's a good time to be aware of excess pitta dosha in our systems, excess heat. And you might feel like there's a lot of energy moving through your system throughout this month of June. And this is normal every year, of course, and around this time. And to move the energy in an intentional way is a great way to not get the excess pitta issues of irritability, frustration, fever, flus, sickness. Usually we'll start to feel those when we transition into the summer season, into the next season. We usually, in Ayurveda, they say that all diseases begin in the transition of the seasons. So as we're working with this energy of the solstice, of the longest day of the year, I'm going to speak mostly to the northern hemisphere because that's where I am. It's a good time to celebrate, to have a sense of gratitude or some sort of gratitude practice for what's happened so far this year. So we had those eclipses back in the end of March, the beginning of April, big portal of transformation in the material and spiritual planes of our own experience of life, and time to improve our health and our wellness practices, and also deepen our spiritual practices. That was happening around the end of March, early April. Likely some things you need to let go of on the material level, and some level of egoic death, of letting go of some old identity, of some ways of controlling, and these kind of things are likely what most people went through in this time. If you're conscious and awake to it, if you're tuned into these energies, because you can just kind of numb out and just do whatever. But if you're actually tuned into the energies of change in your life and in the universe, then you probably had some experience like that. And then in April, we had Mercury retrograde for most of the month. That was a good time to go back over things, clean things up, clear things out. And then in May, Jupiter moved into Taurus on May 1st, starting this new year cycle of possibility, growth, expansion, abundance for all of us. And a lot of possibility in finances and stocks and economy and things like that that are coming to fruition so far already. And I think will continue throughout this time. And then on June, just yesterday, so June 6th, the day before I'm recording this, we had the new moon in Rohini and Taurus, and also 6 grahas in Taurus. So right now, as I'm recording on June 7th, we've got 5 in Taurus: Uranus, Jupiter, Mercury, Sun, and Venus. And I talked about Uranus just moved into Taurus last episode. Check that out if you didn't hear it yet. Uranus bringing change, uncertainty, unexpected change, a level of chaos even into Taurus, which is finances, stocks, economy, also family, home, your own stability and grounding. So this is an opportunity to create a new foundation for your life. If you're in a situation where you know things need to change and things feel like you need to just uproot them. That's the kind of energy that Uranus brings into Taurus. U word, Uranus, unexpected, uncertain, uprooting into Taurus, which is the earth sign, and the bull, the stable, strong, powerful, forceful energy, as now we are bringing some new and unusual and unexpected ways into our approaches to our finances, our home, family, foundation, our structures, our stability, our root chakra kind of needs. So this is a long transit, as I mentioned in the last episode. It will go on for about 8 years, where Uranus is here changing things up and all the Taurus things. And that's ongoing. So that just started recently on June 1st. So that's adding to everything else in Taurus right now, just bringing this strong emphasis to awareness of Taurus things. So if you haven't already, doing something like getting a massage, going to a spa, getting your nails done, hair done, facial, these kind of things, just things that really take care of yourself. New clothes, anything to do to take care of your body, to feel beautiful, to feel nice, feel clean and clear, take care of yourself, and things like this are all great for the Taurus energy. So pretty straightforward, but also maybe more artistic expression and touching into creative expression of yourself, like maybe doing some sort of arts and crafts that you like, making music, poetry, gardening. These kind of things are all very favorable with the Taurus energy, so strong right now. And of course, anything with to do with family, like if there's children in your life or family matters to take care of, a great time to tend to those family assets and resources, wills, things like that. All of these things are favorable to take care of right now with all this Taurus energy. And then now we're moving into the summer solstice. So those are some of the big things that have happened. Pluto went retrograde recently as well. I talked about that. We had all that direct energy at the beginning of the year. At the end of January until April, we had all planets direct. So at that point, you might have been doing something to move forward, begin new projects, start new things in your life around end of January to early April. But now we're in this time in June to July where there's not too many major shifts, not too many big changes happening after all the changes we have had. Uranus did just move to Taurus. That's a big one in a long-term sense. But on the short term, this month of June, as I talked about in the monthly horoscope already, you can go back to that. But there's a level of exploring your sense of expansion and abundance in your life, but also your sense of stability and grounding. So, like grounded and stable growth and expansion. And this week, we have more of that, but also this element of Mrigashira coming in now. So, on June 7th, Sun moving into Mrigashira out of Rohini. So, Sun in Rohini has this element of feeling that sort of beauty and joy and like what we love to do and experience and pleasure and sensual pleasures like food, smells, taste, music, things like this. But then as I move forward here, if you're watching the video, I'm just clicking forward through time and seeing how the sun moves into Mrigashira on June 7th. So Mrigashira is ruled by Mars. Each nakshatra has a planetary ruler, just like the signs do. And the nakshatras are the 27 smaller divisions of the sky based on the lunar cycle of 27.3 days, as opposed to the solar cycle of 30 days. So we get 12 signs for the solar cycle, and we get 27 signs for the lunar cycle. So we go a little deeper when we look at the nakshatras. And the sun now being in Mrigashira is this energy of exploring different possibilities. I could go here, I could go there. What about this? What about that? Mercury also moves here. Venus is here in Mrigashira at this point too. So Mercury is going to go there on Tuesday, June 11th, just for a few days. It's a short stay this time. But basically this week ahead, now as we look at what's happened so far this year, some of the changes you've gone through, and we look forward into the rest of June, what's to come. It's an opportunity now to explore, what about this? What about that? Mrigashira is sometimes talked about as like this window shopping kind of energy of you look, you're interested, you're curious. Maybe you want to explore something, you want to go down a path. Maybe you also want to explore something else. So it's not the most decisive energy. and it moves into Gemini as well. Mrigashira is in both Taurus and Gemini. So when it's in the Taurus part, it's a little more direct, a little more pointed, a little more like I would like this and that, and just have it. And the Mars energy of Mrigashira can go for it and just have it. But when we get to the Gemini side, towards the end of this week, June 14th, now that's setting up the next week where there is more of this exploration, less of this directness, more of this indecision. And that's just a passing thing. This too will pass, of course, but it's somewhere that you may feel in the next week from June 14th to 21st, which we'll talk about next week, some level of uncertainty, indecision, and decisiveness. That's okay. That's just part of the Mrigashira energy. And the positive side of it is exploring, trying new things, right? If it was all just Taurus, stable, direct, simple all the time, that would get boring. And Taurus is sometimes known as being stubborn and bullheaded and sort of this kind of thing. That's one of the negative stereotypes. So if we just had that all the time, yes, we would all get sort of stubborn and boring and dry. But we have the Gemini energy and we have changing energies in all of the nakshatras and all the signs. So things change. We have different elements of ourselves that come out, different sides of ourselves we learn about. So this week, June 7th to 14th, as we're still on the Taurus side for most of this time, you can explore what do you want to learn more about in artistic expression, your beauty, and enjoying the pleasures of life, different restaurants. You might want to try different recipes, foods, different music to listen to. I've been really into this Suno app, which is kind of mind-blowing. Really, it's AI music generator, and within about 5 to 10 seconds, it can generate an entire song based on some prompts you put in, and it's crazy. And there's like new genres they're inventing in this app that have never been heard before, like polka and hip hop and new wave, and just mixing them all together, and salsa, and somehow it works, right? And it's pretty interesting, right? It's one of those AI advancements that we've seen with Saturn and Aquarius and all the other things I've talked about, other bigger transits, bringing these huge changes into technology. And this is a pretty interesting one. If you want to check it out, if you're into making music, Suno is a cool app. And there's a great YouTube channel I've become kind of obsessed with called WTF Vinyl. And they are using AI to remake songs. Mostly they're doing like 80s or 90s and 2000s like rap metal and new metal and stuff like that into 80s pop songs. So like Limp Bizkit into the style of George Michael, and it's amazing. So I would highly recommend Linkin Park into this 80s style, like Rick Astley or things like that. So check it out if you're interested in like if you want a good laugh and interested in just some different ways of approaching music and creativity. Also with Uranus and Taurus, this kind of thing makes a lot of sense with like it's major disruption into ways of creating art and music. And we've seen that a lot with AI generated art in the last couple of years, but it's all just growing extremely fast now. And things that were impossible a few months ago are already possible because that's the nature of exponential growth in technology. So kind of incredible, but also terrifying. So interesting stuff to check out there for music exploration. But again, on a personal level, Sun and Mrigashira from June 7th for 13 days. This is a time to explore what lights you up, what really inspires you, what you want to move towards, and brings you vitality and fuels your creativity and your self-expression. And it's not going to be super clear through all of this. Like this next week in Taurus might be a little more clear. Sun and Mars work really well together. And you might feel more directed and pointed and want to get stuff done and do this. But there is likely to be a bit of scattered energy over the next week or two, and that's okay. So letting that be an opportunity to basically, like a child, dump all the toys out of the box and play with some different toys and try this and that. or like to go out and try something different, take a different path than you normally take, try a different event than you normally go to, different people to hang out with, exploring a little bit is a positive use of this. And of course, like I mentioned on June 11th, Mercury also in Mrigashira here. And this is all ruled by Mars, which is in Aries. So we got three planets in Mrigashira. That's Sun, Venus, and Mercury, all ruled by Mars and Aries, which is in Ashwini, which is this sort of just go, just do it, just start something, just try something. Let's create this, let's create that. Let's just go. It's a ambitious, driven, starting energy. So anything you want to explore and try, it's a great week to just try something new. And then on Wednesday, June 12th, Venus moves on to Gemini, still in Mrigashira, but that brings more of that indecisive energy and relationship stuff and matters of the heart and what you love and what you want in your life. Explore. It's okay if you're not sure, if it's okay if you're a little unclear at times with this, but this is an opportunity to just be curious and try things and be open to new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of thinking about things. This is a great time to have deeper conversations and relationships. Talk with maybe if you have a spouse or close friend or best friend. It's a great time for conversations in a way that helps you uncover what you really want and what you desire. Therapy, of course, is great with this. So Venus is our desire. Gemini is this intelligent, explorative, creative energy. And so what we desire, it's a great time to explore that a bit and try things and get some perspective, like through therapist or coach or friend or something like that. And this week, I'll actually be opening space for readings. So if you're interested in getting a one-to-one Vedic astrology reading, I call it a life alignment reading because it's not just looking at your chart, but it's like what is really aligned for you at this point in your life, like location, the dasha that you're in, the big time period. There's a lot of things you just won't see. It just really takes a long time to really see everything in your chart. So I like to help people learn this, like you learn this yourself, how to read your own chart and how to read astrology. And if you watch the videos, I'm showing you how to do it. But there's a lot of things that really do take time that you just miss, that just you won't see right away. So if you want a lot of perspective on your chart and a lot of insight, you can schedule a reading with me. And this will be the last week for the discounted rate until this Friday, the 14th, coming up, June 14th. So if you want to get a session in basically any time before the winter, this is the time to do it. I might open up in the fall, we'll see, but I'll be having a few big offers coming up. The next Vedic Astrology Mentorship will be starting on August 1st, so I'll be focusing on that. So I've got a little time here in June and July and August where I can get in some readings. So if you want to book one, this is the time to do that. And we'll look at everything in your chart, give you a 52-page printout as well with the annual horoscope. We'll look at the annual chart for you, the moon chart, D9, D10, all that. So we go super deep in there and the reading and record it, and you get the recording and transcript to review as many times as you like. And that's something I hear from people all the time. Like they reviewed their reading. So if you've already had a reading from me, might be a good time to review that and come back to it as we get to the middle of the year and this time of now moving into the second half of 2024 to look back on the things you learned about yourself this year and how you want to apply that going forward. Celebrate some of the successes you've had, acknowledge some of the challenges you've had and how you want to change and grow from that. So if you want to schedule a reading, go to quietmindastrology.com and book a life alignment reading. And this is the last week for the discounted rate and to get a reading in the summertime. So if you want to get one in the next few months, this is a great time to do it. And I'll be closing space for booking after that, after June 14th. And I'll be focusing on the next offers. So I'll be offering the Thrive Online program. This is something I've only done a few times, but had amazing feedback and results from people who've gone through it. So it's basically how to align with your purpose and express that in the world, and then the Vedic Astrology Mentorship, how to be a certified Vedic astrologer. So those things are coming up soon as well. So I'll be focusing a lot on that coming up. So moving on to the last big transit of the week, and it's a big one. So that's Jupiter moving into Rohini on June 12th as well. So Jupiter has been in Kritika inside of Taurus so far for the last month, and now it moves into Rohini. So Jupiter now ruled by a moon nakshatra. And Jupiter, as you may know, is actually exalted when it's in the moon sign of Cancer. So Jupiter and moon coming together is a very sweet, beautiful, harmonious, positive energy. So Jupiter in Rohini now bringing an opportunity to improve your finances, improve your relationship to your mother, improve your relationship to your mind and emotions, and expression of your thoughts and ideas in the world, an opportunity to step into your aspect of teaching. And I think everyone has something to help others with and teach in some way, whether you have that title or not. Especially if you're a parent, you're teaching. If you are in any role of responsibility in a workplace, you are in some way leading and guiding others and maybe teaching others there, mentoring others. So this is also a great time to work with a mentor or guide or teacher yourself and find someone in your life that you can learn from, particularly in these areas of Rohini. And Rohini means the reddish one. It's a star that really stands out, Aldebaran, in the night sky. And it's easy to spot too. If you look at Orion's belt, Orion is usually pretty easy for people to find, those three stars near each other, kind of in a line. They're kind of pointing to this red star of where that's Rohini. So that is inside the constellation of Taurus. And then you can find the rest of the zodiac belt from there. So Jupiter now being in this sign of Rohini brings expansion, growth, and protection into these matters of beauty, pleasure, enjoyment, home, taking care of ourselves, where we stand out as well in these ways. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful energy for all things to do with Taurus, the kind of typical Taurus things that we think of: the finances, home, family, enjoyment, pleasure, the senses, beauty, art, luxury, these kind of things. So I know quite a few people who have Rohini as their ascendant or moon, and they really like nice things. And when Jupiter comes here now, it's this possibility to have more nice things, more enjoyment, more expansion, more quality things in your life. Also, quantity, because Jupiter brings abundance and expansion. And Taurus likes to have possessions and things like this. There's a quality common in Taurus. And with all these other energies here, there's might be a lot of interest in exploring like things you might want to bring into your home and improve in your home. And if it's not that, then it's like what really does matter to you. Like you might be more minimalist. So you don't want more stuff and material things in the home, but you want more pleasure, more enjoyment, more going out to concerts or performances or events or things like this. We have a little circus thing here in where I'm staying in Mexico, and they do performances with like the lyra hoops and the silks and acrobatics and all these kind of things. And that's really really fun and cool to watch. So like I've been more drawn to go to those performances now as I feel this energy coming in at Jupiter and Rohini. And I actually took a class the other day, and my whole back is completely sore. Wonderful feeling. I really like that. It's a lot harder than it looks. If you've ever seen those people swinging around on those hoops and ropes, it's way harder than it looks, and worth trying if you're interested. Also, this kind of energy is like that, exploring these kind of things of different forms of entertainment, of enjoyment, of just seeing beautiful things. And there's so much beautiful form in that kind of stuff too. And often the people who do it are in incredible fitness and shape themselves and great alignment physically because of all that that's required to do that kind of stuff. So if that's something you're curious about, that's maybe worth exploring now too. And of course, any yoga practice fits in this as well. Yoga is so much about alignment and form and the sort of beauty of the form and the anatomical alignment to make that happen. So any sort of hatha yoga, vinyasa yoga is very favorable at this time as well, with all the Mars energy ruling Mrigashira and all those planets in Mrigashira throughout this week. So those are some of the energies that play this week from June 7th to June 14th. So as I mentioned, a lot of Mrigashira energy, a lot of Taurus stuff going on. And then all the bigger stuff, the longer term stuff I've talked about in recent episodes, you can go back to listen to that, especially the Jupiter and the Uranus and Taurus episodes are really relevant still for the next year and the next 8 years for the Uranus one. And if you want to know what's going on in your life for the next year or many years, their whole lifetime, really, you see it all on the chart. And that's what we do in the life alignment reading. So quietmindastrology.com is where you can book a reading. And if you enjoy the podcast, take a moment to leave a review. It helps a lot, and share it with a friend because astrology is more fun with friends. And follow me on Instagram at Quiet Mind Astrology for all my funny astrology memes. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to sharing more with you next time on the Quiet Mind Astrology podcast.